Okay. I don't know if you recognize this character or not, but she's supposed to be Catherine Gilliand, aka Catherine LaFay, married now to Mihail LaFay. She came from Story 8, and what I've done here is this is an idea that I had where let me take care of something here. I've got to tell have her take a vacation day. She works at the hospital.
Unyab.
I have done this
Yakalao
more
Dunba.
than once now,
Rugi Kayun.
at least 3 or 4 times,
Wixana Zarsa.
where I've abruptly
Usana
ended
Kadole.
a story, and
Harvini.
I thought, well, this is not right. So what I've done is I've decided to bring all the storylines together and bring them all over into The Sims 4, where we have the history of Twin Bios and Story 8. The two characters that from Story 8 who came here and then left were Catherine Gilliand and Mihail LaFay. Well, they've come back. And Dobbs met them here, and at the end of episode 11, she met Dobbs, and she didn't want to talk about it. And so in an episode that I started to write, I didn't finish, it was 3 episodes, was that she did meet with Dobbs, and she explained everything to him. And what she told him was that there's this thing called SOAL, the source of all legacies. And that all legacies are controlled by this one source. And let me just read this to you here. Okay, so in this episode, Catherine confirms the existence of SOAL, the source of all legacies. And Catherine's theory of reality was presented through a dialogue between James Dobbs, and Catherine Gilliand LaFay, who is pictured on the screen. There's Dobbs right now, so let me have her. Invite him in. Brighton Day. Will that get him into the house? Once she starts a conversation with him through the door, of course. Okay, now he comes in. They can let's have them find a private place to talk here, because Mihei he doesn't know what's going on. He's actually forgotten who he was and where he was. So she's the only one that is aware that they've come here from a different universe. And their 2 children were actually born here because the daughter Bree, the one that's pictured in part 4 of part 5 of this, Story 8. She died. Yeah, it's kind of sad. She died in a boating accident, fishing. So they met, and she explains that there's this theory regarding reality that what we see, hear, smell, and feel is not actually real. It is all just part of a simulation controlled. Turn them down by a mysterious entity known as the source of all legacies, or simply the source. The source of all legacies is this thing that is responsible for the generation of simulations that are perceived as reality. And Catherine further explains that Twin Bayous is part of a network of simulated realities, a series of experiments known as legacies. For most of its existence, the source had full control of the Twin Bios legacy. But what did they did not account for was the appearance of the oddballs. Now, you know how in the, what do they call that, Vampire Diaries, there's these folks called the originals. Well, in my story, there's these folks called the oddballs. And they didn't take into account the oddballs. There is one oddball who is in particular that caused them problems was Raquel LaFay. Oddballs such as Raquel and her family are genetically mutated Sims who have come in contact with a source. They possess supernatural powers, allowing them to affect their surroundings and thus prevent the source from having full control of everything. As you know, in Sims 4, there are no supernaturals, but I'm hoping that they will soon do something like that. They did it in Sims 2, they did it in Sims 3. I think a lot of people would be upset if they didn't in Sims 4. So at some point, the source, and actually this, when you think about it, the source is me, had made a decision that they were going to shut down the 3.0 legacies and upgrade them to a new version called 4.0 in Universe 4, The Sims 4. And Raquel decided that was not going to happen, and she started doing little things here and there to mess with the system. Occasionally, Sims are plucked out of the simulation to be examined by the Ministry of Legacies to determine if they have been polluted by the oddballs or to be given directives from the Ministry. I was trying to come up with a way of explaining the aliens and the alien abduction, and that's my explanation for what the aliens are doing. They're just pulling people out of here to determine what their status is or to give them some sort of directive or information. And a couple of weeks ago when I was playing, James Dobbs was just randomly abducted by aliens, and I needed some sort of an explanation for it. And the explanation is that he's now not aware of his situation. Miklos is still aware, but he's not saying anything. He's not talking about it because they really at this point don't know what is going on. Something interesting about Catherine here is that she loves to dance, and I don't know exactly what it is about which trait that she has that makes her want to dance, because she's a bookworm, she's a genius, she loves the outdoors, and she's a quick learner. In story 8, she loved to fish. In her presence here, and I'm not sure what the trait is about it, but every time she goes to a place where there's music playing, a bar or a restaurant or whatever, she gets up and she dances. And when she's at home and idle, she spends all of her time dancing. And this is her son, Dominic here. Her daughter, well, let me finish this explanation here before I go off on this tangent. Okay, so Catherine talked about how Raquel at one time bounced around between different legacy simulations before she came back, and she restored Catherine back to life, and before Catherine got abducted by aliens. If you read the last couple of episodes of Story 8, Part 3, you'll find out all about that. And she talked about that to Dobbs, about how she had how they had first visited Universe 4. And at that time, Mihai still possessed some of his powers, and this allowed them to create a portal through which they were able to return to Universe 3 by going through that tree in Willowbrook, and I detailed that in the beginning of, I think it was Part 4, Story 8. Catherine told Dobbs that both she and Mihai were very happy in their new life in a new twin bios, and everything was going well until there was a tragic accident. Their daughter Bree drowned while out on the bayou fishing with her father. Needless to say, Mihei was devastated by the loss of their only child, and he became obsessed with wanting to leave the new twin bios and return once again to Universe 4. He did so by recreating the spell of the magical Shifurobe. After returning to Universe 4, Mihei managed to contact the Source and make a deal in which he would not use his supernatural powers in exchange for having our memories, Catherine's and his memories, erased. Catherine explained that she had been through that process before, and because she knew what to expect, she was able to compartmentalize the old memories for later retrieval. And she tells Dobbs that up until now I had forgotten everything, but when you mentioned the name Mike Dutrono, suddenly it all came back. And Dobbs then apologized for having caused her any pain. Dobbs mentioned to Catherine that he had noted that many of the people in this world have the same names as people in his twin bios. His twin bios. The Clemens, the Gentile family, the Stoneys, Goomba, Poindexter, Ringwald, and LaFay families. Many have the same first names. And he asked, is it true for you as it is for me? And she said yes, that she remembered these families from when she was in twin bios. And she said, I am a doctor, and many of these people are patients of mine. I have found that not only... She's been flirting with him. I wasn't paying any attention, and now Mihei's pissed. So she said, I'm a doctor, and many of these people are patients of mine. And I found that not only do they have the same names, but their personalities are the same. But they are not refugees like us. They are doppelgangers. Okay, she needs to apologize to her husband, and she needs to ask him to leave. And finally, Dobbs asked if there was any way out, and she told him that there are a number of spots around Universe 4 that appear to be portals, but they do not work. And she explains that she believed that either the appearance of Mikolos or he coming there has caused a disruption in the space-time continuum. All right, hang on a second. Pause. Let's pause this. She needs to go over and apologize to her husband. Okay, and it was not too long after this meeting that a change did occur, and when all the doppelgangers were reset to their starting state. And I had to do this because I screwed up, and some things were happening there. Okay, honey, you know I love you. All right. Hey, calm down. Blow a kiss. They'll figure it out. They'll work it out. Okay, so let me just finish this. It was not too much later after that when the reset occurred that Catherine and Mihei became parents once again. First a girl named Bree, and then they had a boy named Dominic. Okay, so Bree is right here. And I tried to get these characters to look as close as I possibly could to, if you go to Story 8, what is it called? Part 4 or Part 5, I believe. They have a daughter named Bree, and so I tried to get everybody to look as close as I possibly could to the way that they appeared in The Sims 3. And Dominic was the name of the character that they encountered in Part 3, supposed to be a descendant of theirs, and so he's, I guess, an ancestor. Well, not. I guess he wouldn't be because he's not a refugee. He's actually he was born here. And as far as he's insane, just like the Dominic who appeared in the end of part 3 of story 8. He's also gregarious, and he is a dance machine, like his, which I guess he inherited from his mother. I don't know. I wish I could do these, sometimes randomize the traits when they're born. But she has the very same traits as her mother does. She loves the outdoors. She's a genius, and she's a quick learner. And this Mihei here is he's supposed to look like the Mihei in story 8. I don't know that he does, but he has similar traits. He's romantic, he's good, he's a geek, and he's alluring. And then finally, Catherine, well, I already told you what her traits are. Okay, so Catherine is, she's getting sick, and she has medicine here, so should have her take the medicine. Okay, and that energized her. Okay, so I've gone on and on and on explaining what the deal is here, looking at the LaFay family, and they live in this really nice house that is situated on an island at Windenburg, and it is it's on a point out here, and we'll come back here again. But they have a pool, and it's very isolated here. I don't know exactly how they get here. When people leave the island, they walk over. They walk over here somewhere. They walk over to this pier, or there's another pier. I'm sorry, it's on the other side. They walk to one of these piers. They walk to this pier here when they're leaving, coming and going the island. But you never see them get on a boat. And we're going to leave the island right now. So we'll see you next time. Bye.